By now, you're probably aware that the Liberals and Justin Trudeau approved the Kinder Morgan pipeline expansion that will run from near Edmonton to Burnaby, BC, and the Port of Vancouver. And perhaps if you are from BC, you're experiencing an overload of pipeline politics over the past 3 years or so. But I realize for many of you outside BC and Alberta, there is a lot of disinformation being put out by the various environmental groups, and even some by politicians like Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson. So I thought I would run through just a few of the myths or misleading facts that opponents of the project have been using. Let's begin with one of the City of Vancouver's biggest objections. The city started a national campaign against this project called Not Worth the Risk. And they built a beautiful, expensive website for about $280,000. And even spent another $20,000 just to advertise their campaign in Ottawa as well. What a great use of tax dollars in the most expensive city in the country, am I right? Well, the city contends that a 700% increase in tanker traffic is what we will see. And they suggest numbers will increase from about 5 tankers to 34 tankers each month. But those numbers don't account for the recent drop in oil prices that have dropped that monthly number to about 1 tanker each month leaving Vancouver right now. And most energy analysts say we are in for $50 a barrel oil for at least a few years, if not longer. So it remains unclear just how many tankers will be leaving the port per month once the project is completed. The Not Worth the Risk website also makes some vague claims about how difficult and narrow the Port of Vancouver is to navigate. But as part of the current rules, all oil tankers must not only be double-hulled, but also accompanied by 2 tugboats and piloted by a Port of Vancouver harbor pilot. And I want to say that these men and women take their jobs extremely seriously. They absolutely know that they are piloting and escorting a vehicle with hazardous and delicate cargo. And we can't forget, these are people that live and enjoy the beauty of Vancouver as well. So it behooves them to do their job to the highest standard. But even if there were 34 tankers per month, that is relatively a small increase in overall port traffic. The Port of Vancouver is the busiest port on the west coast of North America and 27th in the world, with around 3,000 cargo ships coming in and out each year. And the port also employs just under 100,000 people, making it easily the biggest economic driver in BC. But you know what? Mayor Gregor Robertson has not once met with the port CEO in his 8 years in power. Again, the mayor has not met with the port CEO once, despite it employing 100,000 people and driving just about all economic activity in Vancouver. You know, I didn't believe this either, but it's been confirmed to me by a number of sources. And you almost get the sense that the mayor is so against industry, he would rather just see the Port of Vancouver shut down altogether. As far as environmental groups, well, one recent claim is that this expansion will cause the southern resident killer whale population to go extinct or put them at tremendous risk. And according to the Rain Coast Conservation Foundation, it's not even a spill or tankers striking these whales that they are concerned about. But if you can believe it, they think that the increase at a maximum of 30 more tankers a month to the already 250, 300 vessels in and out each month will cause persistent boat noise would overpower the orcas' ability to hunt and communicate using echolocation. Say what? Persistent boat noise? Well, what about the dozens and dozens of small and personal pleasure crafts that people use to whale watch and often do so far too close to the animals, almost harassing them in a way? But you know what frustrates me most about commentary like this, besides it being intellectually and factually dishonest? It's that CTV just took this quote from this environmental group, republished it without challenging such a ridiculous claim. This is classic disinformation, and the media party is complicit here. But I only expect this disinformation campaign from environmental groups to ramp up in the coming months and years as this project gets closer to construction. But I will leave you today with a small glimmer of hope. Yesterday, in my piece, I mentioned that Justin Trudeau and the federal government must uphold the rule of law in case of violent protests or attempted disruption when this project begins. It appears Natural Resources Minister Jim Carr is on board with that, because yesterday he told business leaders in Edmonton that, quote, if people choose for their own reasons not to be peaceful, then the Government of Canada, through its defence forces, through its police forces, will ensure that people will be kept safe, unquote. You know, I gotta tell you, I did not expect such a firm response from this government. But I hope Jim Carr is serious about this, because it is inevitable that with people like Mayor Robertson and Elizabeth May provoking people to resist and face arrest, that some will resort to violence. for the Rebel.media. I'm Christopher Wilson. Thanks so much for watching. As we approach a new year in 2017, expansion at the Rebel is our main goal. And we need to fund a completely new and high-tech studio. So go over to thebigplan.ca, that's thebigplan.ca, and you can choose from 68 different items that we need your help to fund to make sure that honest media continues in Canada.